Morning, everybody. Frank Sinatra here, or as you've come to know me, Old Blue Eyes. I just thought I'd pop in and say hello. Just wanted to say it's an honor and a privilege to be here with all of you today here in beautiful Connecticut. A little bit about myself. I was born in December of 1915 in a little tenement apartment in Hoboken, New Jersey. Some of you might know that place. Small 8-floor walk-up, no elevators. We never knew if we were going to have any heat. We never knew if we were going to have any food, any lights of any kind. Funny thing was, my parents were rich. They just hated me. They gave me that loyalty test right away. But anyways, back in Hoboken, I decided around the age of 16 or 17 years old, I was going to get myself into show business. So what I did was I grabbed a couple of buddies and we put together a quartet, and we called it the Hoboken Four. Now, in those days, there was a radio program on the air in the New York area called Major Edward Bowes, and it was a variety show, an amateur show. And he would bring on acts from the local area to show their talents. So the Hoboken Four got their shot. Well, it turned out Major Bowes, he really liked us. The only problem was it was an amateur show, so you could only come on once. So what did Bowes do? He took the four of us and he just kept renaming us. We were the Secaucus Cockamemies, the Teaneck Tetones, the Bayonne Bacalas was the one that always got me. But anyways, we had a lot of luck on that show, and it launched my career. And 50 years later, I get to sit here and tell you that I've worked with the many greats like Harry James, Tommy Dorsey, Nelson Riddle, Count Basie. You name them, I sang with them, baby, and it's been an absolute joy. This whole career of mine, it's been a thrill, and I've got all the stories that come with it. As a matter of fact, there's one story that comes to mind. There was this broad in New Jersey this one time.
Frank, this is a PG show here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we can't get too much into that.
Hey, welcome to Connecticut.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We'd offer you a drink, but it's a dry studio. So
understood.
I'm sorry.
Do you have big plans for your time here in CT?
So I'm up here to see this lovely lady, and you too, of course.
He is a ladies' man, huh? All right, now you're actually not the real Frank Sinatra, right?
No, I'm not.
All right, tell us who you are.
I'm Michael Dominick, and I'm from the Make-A-Wish Foundation.
And Michael's been on our show so many times before, and I didn't realize you had this talent.
Now he's all of a sudden Frank Sinatra.
It's incredible.
And you also do Dean Martin?
I have. I've been doing Dean Martin as a benefit for a long time, and just decided it was finally time to take on Frank. Hesitated. You know, some big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
So.
Who do you enjoy playing more? Is it Frank or Dean?
This is actually the first time I'll be playing Frank in my upcoming performance.
Wow.
But so far, the way
this is
rehearsals
the premiere right here on CT Style?
This is the premiere right here.
Wow,
That's
this is
good.
big.
We like that.
This is big.
So you're doing this to help raise some money for Make-A-Wish.
Correct. So I work for Make-A-Wish. Our mission is to grant wishes for kids with life-threatening medical conditions. And here in Connecticut, we're granting over 180 wishes to kids every single year. So the need for events and fundraising is really great right now.
And it's not cheap, right? It costs about $10,000 per wish.
That's right. We send the whole family on the trip, so the average cost here in Connecticut is around $10,000 per wish, times 180 kids. It's a lot of funding that we need to maintain.
So what's a typical wish?
Most of our kids involve air travel in some way, shape, or form. A lot of our younger kids go to Walt Disney World, but we've got kids that go to California, kids that want to travel over to Paris for Fashion Week. It really is whatever is most important to that child, and then when we find out what that wish is, we just work and think out of the box to make it happen.
Now, you are obviously involved because of a story that was close to home for you, right?
That's correct. My brother is a Wish kid. Back in 1992, he was diagnosed with a brain tumor. We were living in the Philadelphia area at the time, and that's when we were introduced to Make-A-Wish. And my 3-year-old brother, as I said, he wished to go to Walt Disney World. But it was incredible. That's me, him, and my parents. My sister's, I guess, the one taking the picture. Couldn't find one with all 5 of us. So. But it was an incredible trip. I mean, you think about Disney, of course, it's a great experience, but they really pull out all the stops for the kids. Front of the line passes for rides. There's a special village down there that kids stay at called Give Kids the World, where basically, you know, if you've had a long day at the park and you want to just take a next day and rest, you know, these kids are still going through a lot. Give Kids the World is basically an amusement park in and of itself. But the experience just stuck with me and with my family, and we've all stayed involved over these past 20-some years to give back.
So it must have had quite the impact on you from your brother, and now that you work with the organization, right?
It did. So, I mean, I was 7 at the time of the wish, and, you know, I look back on it now, having grown up and seen what it really did for us and the bigger picture. At the time at 7, it was a great trip, and it was cool to be with Maddie. But the reality was that was the first time I was with Matt and Meg and both my parents, and it was in a hospital, and I couldn't even tell you how long. And that's something that you don't even need to realize it at the time. It stays with you. And as I grew up and saw my parents get involved volunteering with the organization, it became very clear to me that this was the organization that had really kept our family together, and I wanted to get involved and give back.
That's great.
And how do you find the money to put these wonderful wishes on?
There's lots of events throughout the community, all around the state. We're very fortunate to have a lot of people who come out to us and say, I want to run a golf tournament, or I want to, you know, run this type of fundraiser, that type of fundraiser. And we basically say, if you have an idea, bring it to us. We'll help you kind of turn it into a reality and provide whatever support we can provide. But a lot of events around the state are really where the money comes from.
And now, speaking of events, you have one coming up, right?
I do. This will be my premiere performance of Frank Sinatra.
Ain't that a kick in the
How
head?
is this going to work, Michael? You're going to be up on stage. You're going to be Frank the whole time.
One-man show. It's at
One-man show.
Cinzano's restaurant in Fairfield. So dinner starts at 7 o'clock this Friday, the 27th. And then after everyone's had a bite to eat, probably a glass of wine.
Or 2 or 3, you know.
However,
the more the merrier.
Frank doesn't judge. But then the show will begin around 7:30, quarter to 8. And it's about a 90-minute journey of just Frank on stage. He kind of takes you back to when he was in Vegas around 50 years old at the time, looking back on his career and sharing stories, using songs to tell those stories.
Are you singing at all?
Yeah, monologues, songs, the works.
Wow,
It's going to be a lot of fun.
It's going to be a good show. Michael, thank
Here's
you so
hoping.
much for joining us
Thanks
here
for having
today.
us.
And what's the website? Where can we check it out?
You can visit ct.wish.org, and you'll find all the information right there.
All right, very good. And